we all in our life have participated in dieting, if we know it or not. We either begin by what we call fasting, or consider starving yourself, that's also dieting. Or we diet for about 3 weeks, lost weight, and then could not stick to the diet and gain all of that weight back. My name is Dejanay Johnson.
And I'm Brianna Beery.
And we're going to talk about if fad diets promote good health. Fad diets are diets that require you to limit what you eat or want you to take out certain food groups to lose weight fast and quickly. Fad diets are a short-term fix for long-term problems, and they're really intriguing to the population of obesity. Obesity is the #1 cause to people who lead to fad diets. For this reason, because fad diets are all over the TV, all over magazines, all over newspapers, and everywhere you turn, someone's saying, oh, you're fat, you do this, you're fat. And also BMIs, you do a BMI and boom, it says you're fat.
Diets, on the other hand, are more specifically towards an individual. So they're not as aggressive, and they're directed towards not only limiting entire food groups, but just specific things. So it's only taking out some of your carbs or some of your sugars and fats.
Fad diets began in the early 1900s by an American doctor by the name of William Hay. He had health conditions that made it hard for him to carry out his daily activities. He had the conditions of Bright's disease, kidney conditions, and high blood pressure. And in the article by Richard Hollingsworth in Digestive Friendly Food Combinations, published in 2007, he talked about how William Hay made the claims of sitting right side up because he was afraid that if he lied down that he would drown in his fluids. So he studied medicine and was a surgical specialist, and this led to him studying the relationship between diets and health. And for this reason, he came up with the Hay diet, which he said that you should not eat proteins and carbohydrates in the same meal. So one day you eat proteins, the next day you eat carbohydrates. This was considered one of a good fad diet because it was successful for him and helped him lower his blood pressure, and the swelling of his legs began to decrease. Later on, in Atkins Nutritional Case Study published in 2004, the idea of the Atkins diet, which is also considered a better fat diet because it's a low carbohydrates diet. This diet consists of 4 phases. Phase #1, which is the induction phase, you are really only allowed 20 grams of carbohydrates per week. And then the second phase, which is the balancing phase, you begin to kind of allow fruits and vegetables and nuts back into your diet. And then the third phase, which is fine tuning, you slowly start adding carbohydrates back into your diet, which will slow down the weight loss process. And then the final phase is the 4th phase, which is maintenance. You begin to eat as many healthy carbohydrates as your body can maintain. And this is considered more of a healthier way than other fad diets, which are bad, like the chewing craze, where the idea is to eat as much as you want, but you have to chew what you have at least 100 times.
Okay, so the next one is calorie counting. This started in the 1920s. During this, it was women felt the need that they had to only eat 1,200 calories per day, and they would remove carbohydrates, dairy, vegetables, fruits, all from their life, and just basically live off of water. And they also took laxatives and diet pills and other forms of binging in order to not eat. So the next one is the 5-2 diet, and this is eating consistently for 5 days straight and then picking 2 non-consecutive days of not eating. And this also brought lots of problems because people were starving themselves for a lot amount of time and then eating way too much and then ended up puking it in result.
So pros of fad diets are, if you have any type of health condition that requires you to take out or restrict certain food groups, it's a pro because, like diabetics, if you're diabetic, they require you to either low carbs or no carbs, or no sweets to maintain a low blood sugar. And also another pro is when people are exposed to looking skinny and feeling good, it kind of helps them realize that they can look like this all the time if they actually exercise or eat right. And it also exposes people to making goals and ways to achieve them. And the final pro is when it gives them better eating advice. So they're exposed to eating more fruits and vegetables.
Cons of fad dieting are that it eliminates food groups, so your vegetables, fruits, grains, dairy, and doing this can put an unhealthy balance on your body, so this can lead to like fatigue and laziness, and you just overall don't feel good. And this also leads to your emotional health, so when you're not getting those proper things, you are feeling a lot more depressed and that you can't accomplish things that you normally could. And it also leaves you with emotional stress because you're constantly trying to keep up with the different fad diets. So one time it will be a trend like trying to gain more and like lose more in your stomach but like gain more in your thighs, so you're constantly changing the way you're eating and not eating, and then it can just put you overall in a bad state. And another con is that it can lead to many eating disorders like anorexia and bulimia and binge eating. So anorexia is all about like not eating, and bulimia is eating but then throwing it up in the end, and binge eating is eating a whole bunch and then throwing it up. And so you can start off dieting, and this can lead to you're casually like dieting, taking like vegetables out of your life, and then it becomes an obsession, and then you feel the need, like as you see yourself getting skinnier, you keep taking more of these things out of your life, and then all of a sudden you're developing these eating disorders. So different alternatives other than fad diets is you can exercise more, so just basically practical fitness, so you can like run, you can just walk, or any other forms of activity. You can watch your portion sizes, so instead of completely removing food groups out of your life, maybe lowering your sugars, so not always having candy all the time or always having meat all the time, just having like smaller portions throughout the day of things. Another one is instead of having sugary drinks, you choose water. And then a big one is avoiding like diet pills and the laxatives. And although fad dieting there's a lot of negatives, there are some positives to it. So like as long as you look at the fad diets and they're saying that they are not like this will help you lose it in a week, then a lot of them are good for you, but so many of them are known to have quick results that end up like harming you in the end.
So my opinion on fad diets, I support it for reasons of health conditions. So if you have a certain health condition that requires you to cut out a certain food group, or you can't eat carbs because it does a certain thing to your body, you should resort on fat diets. As in my first example, being a diabetic, they should do fat diets because it helps them and be successful. Also, like Dr. Hayes, it helped him in his high blood pressure. But if you're just looking at a fat diet because you're obese, you should not do it, because exercise is a better way to maintain looking right. Yeah, a fat diet might help you lose 30 pounds, but you're not going to be able to maintain that. You'll lose 30 pounds in 3 weeks, but afterwards you're gaining maybe 50 pounds back. And at the end of the day, you guys should only take in as many calories as you expend. So you should burn more calories than you eat, which would be the better way to diet. And also, you should just exercise, in my opinion. Don't do fat diets.
My opinion, against fad diets for just the basic purpose of obesity and for looking for a quick way out, because in the end it's not as quick as one may seem, because it leads to more health risks than it does benefits, because of the emotional and physical strain that it puts on your body, and because of like the tiredness and fatigue that you get, and that choosing different ways of eating instead, like portion sizes, is a lot better than completely taking these fad diets and removing everything from your life, and that choosing like water instead of sugary drinks and exercising more will help.